Hello and welcome to a story recap of Ubisoft's 2016 adventure, Watch Dogs 2. Now, before we dive in, I feel like it's worth noting that if you're here because you're about to play Watch Dogs Legion, then you don't need to be. Watch Dogs Legion's story is not directly linked to the events of this game, so you'll understand without this video. And I've just realised a lot of people will now have switched my video off.
I shouldn't have said that. I should not have said that.
Never mind, let us begin, if you're still here. The game takes place in modern-day San Francisco. We are Marcus Holloway, a skilled hacker who was recently wrongly convicted of a crime due to the CTOS system. Now, the CTOS system is a web of computer networks, basically meaning everything in the city of San Francisco is connected via one network, from traffic lights to home computers. Everything runs via CTOS. Due to his wrongful conviction, Marcus infiltrates the headquarters of Bloom, the company who created and operate the CTOS system. Think of them like Apple, just much more evil. Marcus casually strolls through the high security building and wipes his data, removing any previous convictions and essentially becoming a ghost. We then see that he is actually being monitored by a mysterious group of people. Our hero politely says goodbye to these lovely Bloom security officers and leaves the building. When outside, he is captured by the aforementioned mysterious people. Very soon we learn that the aforementioned mysterious people are actually DedSec, a somewhat famous hacktivist group, and the previous mission was an initiation/audition to see what Marcus is made of. He passes and joins the group. DedSec are a group who use their nerdy skills, which I won't pretend to understand, to expose government corruption and call out those committing crimes. Essentially, they're like the real-life group Anonymous, except DedSec actually do stuff besides filming videos in their bedrooms and experimenting with voice effects. Now that I've successfully made myself a new international target for the largest hacktivist group in the world, let's get back to the story. DedSec San Francisco is made up of Sitara, Horatio, Josh, and Wrench, and of course, now Marcus. They plan to stick it to Bloom and the other corporations using the CTOS system for their personal gain. After one too many beers on the beach, Marcus decides to take a piss at sea before a local jogger runs past him. Marcus drops his phone and the jogger picks it up and, well, weirdly stares at it like he's never seen a phone before. Marcus claims that the man has a recognisable face, but too drunk to put a picture on it. After an awkward exchange, the jogger leaves, and at this point, any gamer with half a brain cell realises that this won't be the last time that we see the weird man who runs past people and talks to them while they're pissing. That's his full title. The group get to work on raising awareness of the dangers of CTOS with various publicity stunts and social media videos. At this point, everything is going pretty well for DedSec and their followers are rapidly rising. However, soon Josh, the most nerdy of the nerds, notices an irregularity in the numbers. Upon investigating further, we learn that Envite, the game's equivalent of Twitter, has been falsifying their numbers. Marcus sneaks into Envite HQ to find out why and how, when he runs into the piss jogger man again. This time he is revealed as Dusan, the CEO and founder of Bloom. A reminder, they're the bad guys. Dusan reveals that he has been using the rise of DedSec as a way to sell CTOS to people, convincing them that they need it in order to prevent themselves by being hacked by groups like DedSec, which explains why he got Envite, who are in the pocket of Bloom, to fiddle the group's follower count. The dick proceeds to tell Marcus that he has also used CTOS to make him a fugitive. Due to this, Marcus and the gang are forced to leave the city. While away, they attend a hacking festival because apparently that is a thing, in which Sitara, who is essentially the leader of the group, expresses doubts about continuing the group. While at the hacking festival, the group decide to take some disco biscuits and embark on a trippy trip. Josh, being a lightweight, peaks too soon. Classic Josh. But Marcus gets talking to a guy named Ray, who he soon recognizes as the legendary hacker Raymond T-Bone Kenny. The next morning, with the high and subsequent come down complete, Raymond Kenny decides to join DedSec and help in their fight against Bloom. Remember kids, don't do drugs. After laying low for a while, the group return to the city and get back to work. They learn of a CTOS exploit which is aiding corrupt police officers who seem to be working with San Francisco gangs and syndicates. While investigating this lead, one of the group's members, Horatio, goes missing. Marcus investigates his disappearance before finding him murdered at the hands of one of the local gangs. Very sad. Marcus and the group manage to avenge his murder and help expose the corrupt police officers. They also expose a celebrity religious cult group known as the Church of the New Dawn, which is heavily based on the real-life Church of Scientology. Meanwhile, Dusan continues to try and defeat his computer-loving enemies. To do this, he enlists the help of a rival hacker group and even the FBI, both of whom are defeated by DedSec. Sometime later, through Ray, we begin to investigate rockets that Bloom are sending into space. Marcus manages to infiltrate Galileo, which is the in-game equivalent of NASA, and hacks into a rocket set for launch. The gang watch as the rocket is launched and then activate their hack. By doing so, they discover Bloom have created a thing called Bellwether, which, I'll be honest, I still don't fully understand. Essentially, this is a program designed by Bloom to use satellite stations to link CTOS around the world, which would allow Dusan basically power over everything and the ability to manipulate everything from data to politics to even the stock market. We also learn that Dusan is using his influence with Invite to rig the local election. Having exposed all of Bloom's accomplices, DedSec set out their final plan to take down Dusan and expose his crimes to the world. To do this, Marcus gets inside the Bloom HQ and leaks the information to the world, exposing Dusan and his crimes. After doing so, Ray and Marcus pay Dusan a visit to gloat before he is arrested. The gang celebrate, and in a final social media message, DedSec vow to continue their fight against Bloom and any other corrupt organizations that are manipulating the public. In the final scene of the game, we hear of a new audio recording, which is two individuals discussing new DedSec organizations rising up around the world due to the events of this game. One of which refers to London, which sets up the setting for Watch Dogs Legion. And that is what happens in Watch Dogs 2. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, then please subscribe. I'm just one guy who is spreading the word and stories of the best video games, and your support is greatly appreciated.